Like, look at right now with science. My son yesterday asked me, are scientists bad? Because we do a Christian-oriented homeschooling, and, you know, I'm sure some of the moms will talk about what's going on in science right now. And I said, no, buddy, science is very good. That science is and I go, because we can all be scientists. Anybody who does the scientific method is a scientist. And the scientific method, and he doesn't quite understand it yet, but I'm breaking down how you observe, you hypothesize, you create experiments, you theorize, you question, you test, you question, you test, you question your test. And then over long periods of time, you can potentially make something a physical law. And what you're doing is decoding God's world that he's made for us. And it's a beautiful thing, science, just like the Bible is a beautiful thing, just like churches can be a beautiful thing. But what you have out of science now is the exact fundamental opposite. Do you guys remember transpermia? I couldn't stop laughing thinking about this the other day. In school, even in college, I was taught that one of the main theories as to where we all come from, and bear in mind, one of the ways to break your inner child is say, your ancestors are retarded mutant monkeys. No, they aren't. Protect your inner child. Your ancestors are strong, and they had children, and they survived, and so will you. And we come from a line of decent, dignified people. And we've always been human. We've always been men and women. We were never mutated monkeys. Transpermia is the theory that there was genetic material, sperm, transpermia, that traveled through space and just happened to land on Earth, and it started to mutate and formed all life on Earth. Space cum, guys. Space cum was the leading theory as to where we all came from. Okay, my question is, do you have any evidence for space cum? It's the exact opposite of science. And this was taught in colleges. And no one apologizes. No one ever says, oh, our bad for space cum, transpermia, hitting the primordial ooze with lightning. And so, by the way, this is all related to raving. Like, how do you end up that? It's the inner child is beaten and told to stop maturing, stop asking questions, stop growing, stop becoming what you are here to be. Stay 3 fucking years old. Now here's some drugs and some sex. Okay, here's some bright colors and some fucking glow sticks. No. A child is more of a scientist than Neil deGrasse Tyson or any of those people. Those people are the opposite of scientists. They are coming up with stories that can't possibly be true, and they can't prove it or observe it at all. At least the Catholic Church had a true story. The origin story was we were made by God. We were made by the one creator, which is true. But see, this is what happened to Catholicism in America, especially. I can speak on what I witnessed firsthand. And the fact that it was allowed in Oswego to the degree it was means it was a systemic problem. You know, if you go to 8 Subway sandwiches in an area and they're all serving, human shit on a bun, that's a problem with the corporation. You're going to see pretty much standardized operating procedure. You might have one Subway out of 1,000 where someone freaks out and puts shit in a bun or something, but in general, they're following protocols. And so when they started acting exactly the opposite of Christianity, they lost all their power. Because inversion has no power. It's like hurting the children is the worst thing you can do in the Bible. It's like a millstone around the neck, lying, it's just so bad. And so that's why I wanted to talk today about the inner child. And you still have that in you. You still have that little child in you. And do you dump alcohol and drugs on it and tell it to shut its fucking mouth and to get in the fucking corner because it's a cancer? Or do you listen to it and do you rear it and nurture it into becoming a man? And that's why we have these schisms of adults acting like children and being scared and crazy. The crazy behavior that I'm witnessing is like my kids in the worst states they can possibly be in. Like the emotional, erratic, nonsensical, childlike behavior is because these people were traumatized when they were very young and it never stopped. They were told to shut the fuck up and wear your fucking mask. Get in the fucking corner, wear your fucking mask. Take the fucking injection. Swallow the pill. Don't ask any questions, you fuck. You were born bad. You were born with sin. No. All right. Listen to these lyrics again. Disarm you with a smile. Picture a little kid trying to smile so that they don't get attacked. And don't think it's all just adrenochrome and fucking Hollywood party. This is in every town in America. This is the standard operating procedure with children. And I'm not talking about lack of discipline. I do not mean that it doesn't mean correct your children, discipline your children, strengthen your children, but don't abuse them. Don't, when they ask interesting questions, don't tell them that they're fucked up. You know? Don't be a hypocrite. You know, don't say alcohol is bad and then have them watch dad drink. That's how they, like when you say, this actually happened to me. I was having a glass of wine and Walter was like, can I have some of that? What is that? Because I don't drink very much. And my entire family's always in the same room all the time. So everything we do is observed by our children. And he was like, can I have some of that? I go, no, it's not good for you. And he's like, then why do you drink it then? Right? And don't get me wrong, like not being drunk, like small amounts of wine or meat or something local, I don't consider evil, or I don't consider even that bad, but it's definitely a doorway, especially if you have an addictive personality. But that, and think about it this way, it's like, because I abuse myself, buddy. Think about that. When it's like, oh no, when you're older, you can hurt yourself. Why not now? Well, because you're a beautiful boy. You're a healthy boy. I'm here to protect you. Why don't you protect yourself the way you'd protect your child? It's like, would you give your child wine? No. Why? Because it's bad for you. Then why are you drinking it, Dad? Oh yeah, you can't watch this movie. Why? Because it's bad. It's scary. Then why are you watching it? Why aren't you protecting yourself the way you protect me, Dad? That's where the trauma ends, guys. Have your children observe what a man is. It's protecting himself. Why would you dump poison? It's like, well, buddy, you know, because secretly dad's a bad guy and his questions are all poison and he's cancer. And so when I drink the alcohol and poison myself, the questions kind of go down and I accept this mundane, lie-based illusion called reality. And hopefully I can either come or get some money so that I feel a small sense of victory before I die. Okay? Like, is that what you're going to tell your kid? And you don't even think about it. When he asks that question, then why are you drinking it then if it's bad for you? Well, buddy, you know, sometimes a man has to unwind and poison himself. And then what they internalize is, my dad is good. My dad is the representation of God in this home. And so apparently, when I get older, it's good to be bad to yourself. You see that? If you wouldn't give it to your kid, why do you do it? And I have some deep-seated relationship with alcohol, and it's, when I didn't have a drop for a year and a half, I proved to myself I wasn't a quote-unquote alcoholic. Not that, I don't even know what that means really, but, you know, I could just break that habit, and I proved it to myself. And then I will always associate it with safety and friendship. because for so long it was the way that I could get through life without being constantly called evil and cancerous. And looking back, I was fucking right. Why are all the maps looking different? Why don't we ever talk about, just basic questions? Basic questions. Man, that's a powerful statement. Yeah, it's true. What? Yeah, if you don't want your kid to watch certain stuff, like the way you protect your kid, the way you feed your dog, do it to you. When you look at the ingredients in dog food, fucking dog food, and you're like, oh, these chemicals, oh, I want whole raw salmon and grains and all this stuff, oh, non-GMO, okay. And then you go eat a burger at McDonald's, you're saying you're below a dog. When you accept evolution, you're saying your ancestors were mutated monkeys. No, they aren't. You should eat better than your dog. You should treat yourself with the same respect and care that you treat your kids. Because they've done a number on us, guys. I'm an optimistic guy. People come here and they feel, inspired and uplifted and all that. But I also don't lie. They did a number on us, didn't they, guys? They did a number on us. So what do we do now? Now what? Now what? That's why I live the way I live. Now fucking what? We got sent all day to a school that told us we're descendant of mutated monkeys, that our questions were evil, that we should sit and stare at a liar that we know is drunk. I mean, and we're taught lies. We're taught constantly changing facts, inversion, abuse. Like, what was that, guys? What the hell did we do? It is by the grace of God that we are still here and grateful and alive and looking at each day like, making us stronger. Yeah, but no, though. Overall, it can if you have the right attitude. But it did. Guys, I drank alcohol hard for 20 years in order to lower myself to a place where I could function in this fucking world, man. And I think a lot of addicts and drunks were people that were the most special. And I'm not saying I'm more, I shouldn't say it that way, that had the most to offer society on a macro scale. Imagine being an inventor. Imagine being like right now, The Last Crow had this guy on, George Wiseman. And he does the Brown's gas machine. And he's invented ways to make your car get 400 miles a gallon using about $20 worth of changes to, in the past, it was a carburetor. And now it's the injection system, where you can literally just make the current gasoline engine do between 200 and the highest it went was 400 miles a gallon. Okay, so think of how many of those guys have lived. The stream is sitting close to home. Look at House the Great. Have you ever heard him play the guitar? It's insane. You think House the Great doesn't know his way around some alcohol? And it's not because it's the burden of greatness. It's the burden of being told greatness is evil. So we're told in this world right now that there's a global warming problem because of burning fossil fuels, and it's our fault because we're the bad little children again. That we're the problem, that we get in our cars, pay an insane amount of money for our gasoline so we can go to work and get just enough money to scrape by. And we're the reason that there's a hurricane in fucking Bangladesh. Does this sound familiar, guys? They've been doing it to us our whole fucking lives. Now we build. I know. But think about how you're not alone. Think about it. Think about what it is. Think about a world we're in right now. And I'm not mad. I'm just passionate. I'm defending the child inside me that shouldn't be sexualized and fed booze and alcohol. Right now. So we're told we're in this world where burning fossil fuels is why the world is changing. The energy's changing, or the climate's changing. It's our fault for not being able to buy a $300,000 Tesla that isn't made yet. Okay? That's abuse. Meanwhile, we have the technology at our fingertips right now. It would cost manufacturers $20 to put in a different way of fuel injection where you could get 400 miles a gallon on any automobile. There's 5,000 patents for this, 0 in production. Because what happens when you start producing and marketing? I don't know, you commit suicide accidentally? So when you can see this, when you can see the reality of this, where if Chevrolet, for example, were to start making cars that get 400 miles a gallon, there would be no gas emissions. It would be a joke. It's a joke. But it's not about gas emissions. It's not about global warming. It's about abuse. It's about beating you down. It's about envy. It's ira. And that doesn't mean Jews, by the way, in case you didn't realize that.